Alright, today we're going to be talking about our political parties. And I'm sure that you already know at least something about our political parties, but we'll see just exactly how much you know today. Alright, so what even is a political party? Before we start, let's go ahead and define it. So it's a group of people with similar ideas about government. Okay? Alright, so we've got a two-party system, just two. Alright, sometimes there's a third party that kind of comes in there for extra votes, but we have two main parties, and most people, the vast majority of them, either support one of the two. Okay, our two main parties are Democrats and Republicans. Okay, the Democratic symbol is a donkey, and the Republican symbol is an elephant, and we'll talk about why that is in just a little bit. All right, so we do have, like I said, we have third parties, okay? They do not line up 100% with Democrats or Republicans. They might have one piece of their ideals or maybe agree with them on some things, but not everything, all right? And the purpose of a third party, kind of what they do, they take away votes from the similar party, all right? So let's say that we had three girls running for homecoming, because homecoming is coming up pretty soon, all right? Let's say that we had two girls who were both on the basketball team and one girl who was a cheerleader, okay? And let's say that the cheerleader gets all of her friends to vote for her, but then the two girls who play basketball, their friend group, the people who would be voting for them, have to split in half, all right, and decide if they're going to vote for girl A or girl B on the basketball team. So instead of, even if they're more popular, the girls on the basketball team just split up the amount of votes that they got. So they didn't get all that they could have, and then the girl who's a cheerleader ends up winning. Okay? So a third party takes away votes from the similar party. Our most influential, or I guess our largest third party right now, is the Libertarian Party, and they line up with Republicans more so than Democrats, and their symbol is a porcupine, mostly because porcupines worry about only the porcupines, and they have little spikes on their back to keep out any crazy people or intruders. All right, so some examples of some third parties in history, in American history, are the Know Nothing Party, the Dixiecrats, the Bull Moose, Free Soil, Progressive Party, Tea Party. The Tea Party is still around. The Tea Party is, the Tea Party are extreme Republicans, and we'll talk about them in just a second. Right, so why do they even exist? What's the purpose of a political party? Well, there's 5 main reasons. All right, the first one is to organize citizens by belief. All right, so you can see who agrees with you on most things dealing with government and who does not. Okay, so it organizes them in that way. The second reason is to connect the level of government, and we have 3 levels of government. Remember, you level up and you branch out. So you have the national, local, and state governments. All 3 are connected. If you're in the same party, all 3 of them are going to work together at those levels. Okay. Our third reason is a watchdog party, or the opposing party. All right. So when we elect people into Congress, all right, when we vote in November and put people in Congress, so up in Washington, D.C., all right, they either have the majority, which is the most, or the minority, which is the least. Okay, so let's say that the Republican Party, like they do now, they have a majority in both the House of Representatives and the Senate. Okay, and since they're in the majority, it's going to be a little bit easier for them to get away with things that are not correct or corrupt decisions. Okay, it's going to be much easier for them to get away with it because there's more people in there. Okay, so the Democratic Party, since they're the minority, the smaller party, can watch out for the majority party and keep them in line and hold them accountable for their actions and make sure they're acting right. Okay. Our fourth reason is to inform citizens, to make sure people know all the facts about a particular issue before they go and vote. And then the fifth reason would be to raise money for candidates. Okay. So if you are a really rich member of the Democratic Party and you want your Democratic candidate to win the presidency and you want them in the White House, you're probably going to give some more money to them. Okay, so to raise money for candidates. All right, So we've talked about what a political party is. Our first two political parties, which we've talked about, came out of how to structure the Constitution. All right, so we have the Feds, or the Federalists, versus the Anti-Feds, or the Anti-Federalists. Okay, so this guy on the left is Alexander Hamilton. Remember, he's our founding father who likes to duel a lot and has secret gay soldier lover friends. All right, and then our Anti-Federalists, our examples are Thomas Jefferson, Patrick Henry, and some other ones. And remember, they did not want the Constitution unless it added a Bill of Rights. And the Federalists are like, we like the Constitution. There's no purpose for a Bill of Rights. That's unnecessary and kind of dangerous, okay? All right, so again, the first two political parties formed over how to structure the Constitution, right? So those two are worried about how to structure it. Our current two, the Democrats and the Republicans, are focused on how to interpret the Constitution, okay? So they're worried about the size of our government instead of how it's shaped, all right? So a little bit of history for Democrats. Remember, they're the donkey ones. Their color is typically blue, right? They were established in 1792. They created Social Security and welfare systems. They signed the Civil Rights Act into being, and they favor increased government regulation and programs and spending more government money. So basically a bigger government, right? So here's some famous Democrats: Gaga and Ellen, George Clooney, Tom Hanks, and Oprah. And also a history of Republicans. They were established in 1854, all right? Abraham Lincoln was a notable Republican president. He tried to preserve the Union and end slavery. The Republican Party had the first African American and the first woman elected to the national level of government at any branch. And they favor decreased government involvement in programs, and they want to cut government spending. Okay, so some notable Republicans over here: Lisa Kudrow, or Phoebe from Friends, Adam Sandler, Chuck Norris, Carrie Underwood, and LL Cool J. All right, so what makes up a party's actual beliefs? All right, you have two things: a plank and a platform. All right, a plank is an individual belief of a party, just one piece of how they feel. And a platform is all of a party's beliefs put together. A way to remember this: a pirate, when they ask someone to walk the plank, only one person goes off of the plank at one time. It's just one piece of how they feel about things, one issue. All right. A platform, if we're thinking about the actual physical thing, like a wooden platform, you have to have multiple planks of wood in order to create a platform, okay? So a platform is all of the planks put together, all right? So how they feel about government overall. All right, so let's talk about these planks in Democrats versus Republicans, all right? And you're going to go left-hand side of your note sheet and then right-hand side, I'm thinking, all right? So Democrats versus Republicans, all right? Democrats favor more government overall, and Republicans favor less government overall. If you need to pause this while you write it down, that is fine. Okay? More government and less government. And this is their platform overall. And here are their planks. Democrats are pro-choice. Republicans are pro-life. This deals with the subject of abortion. Okay? So when we talk about pro-choice and pro-life, in abortion, pro-life means that they support the life of the child no matter the circumstances, and Democrats are pro-choice, so it's the mother's choice whether or not she wants to abort the pregnancy. All right, Democrats like public schools, Republicans like charter. Democrats favor higher taxes, remember, more government, and Republicans want lower taxes, so less government. All right, Democrats are for gun control, Republicans are against. Democrats want less military, and Republicans want a stronger military. Democrats support gay marriage, and Republicans typically do not. All right? Please note, you do not have to agree with every single piece of this plank or any of these planks in order to be a Democrat. You don't have to support all of this. You can have some Republican planks in your thought process if you want. That's fine. All right? Democrats like public health care. Republicans like private. Democrats want more government spending, remember, more government, and Republicans want less government spending, okay? Democrats are pro-environment. Republicans are kind of indifferent on the environment. They're not anti-environment. I don't want you to think of that. But Republicans typically do not prioritize the environment and environmental policy very highly, Democrats overall have a liberal mindset, and Republicans have a conservative mindset. When we talk about liberal and conservative, usually these two things are used in a very negative way, but what they actually mean is how much change you're okay with and how fast you're okay with the change. Okay, so Democrats typically are okay with, or a liberal mindset, they're okay with a lot of change and very quickly. If you have a conservative mindset, on the other hand, you're okay with very little change and as slow as possible. Okay, so liberal and conservative are not political parties, right? They are mindsets. All right? And Democrats are pro-affirmative action and Republicans are anti-affirmative action. So affirmative action is a government program to help minorities who have been disadvantaged in the past through public policy. Okay, so when we talk about people getting into college, there's a certain percentage of the college population that has to be African American and Pacific Islander and Hispanic. And people who are anti-affirmative action do not want to accept people for a position or a job or education based on race. They want to be based on merit or whether or not you've earned it. All right, and Democrats are typically pro-labor union and Republicans are pro-business. All right, so here's the political spectrum. Make sure you're drawing this. All right, we're going to move from the middle and out. This organizes parties based on how much government they support. Okay, so we have more government to the left. Make sure you write this, and less government to the right. Okay, all right, here we go. Moderates are in the middle. This is where about 75% of all Americans are. They're kind of in the middle, and they might lean one way or the other, but they're not super extreme in how they feel, right? To the left, we have Democrats who want a little more government. To the right, we have Republicans, right? Further to the left, we have socialists. Bernie Sanders sits right here. He is a socialist. That means they want more government involvement in business, okay? Not necessarily your life overall, but in business and industry and education, aka like free college for everyone. That was one of his big planks this year in the past election. Right? Libertarians are a little further right. They want the least amount of government possible while still maintaining order. Okay, so libertarians are good with you. They're good with pro-abortion. They don't really care what you do as long as the government isn't telling you what choice you have to make. They don't really care either way. All right. And then all the way to the left, the most government possible in your life is a communist, okay, aka old Russia in the 90s or North Korea right now, okay? They function on communism or parts of China, okay? So usually dictators end up somewhere over here on the far left, even though they say they're far right, which is not true, okay? On the far right, we have anarchists, aka no government at all, which is frightening, okay? This is the purge over here, right? Or the Kingsman when Samuel L. Jackson, goes crazy on everyone. Right, so this is the political spectrum, and we're going to take a quiz here pretty soon to see where you lie on the political spectrum. All right, so here are our two political parties. This is a cartoon by my fave guy, Thomas Nast. All right, this was done in, 1840s, I think. So notice how the elephant has the Republican vote, aka Republicans are elephants. And this over here, you can't see it, but this is the Democratic vote. Okay, so there's a donkey over here with a lion costume on. So donkeys come from this, and also Andrew Jackson. People said he was a jackass. Don't tell your parents I said that. Okay, but that's why he was like, all right, I'm cool with that, and he just kind of adopted it. So then a donkey is the symbol for the Democrats, and an elephant is a symbol for the Republicans. Okay, so when we talk about voting, there's two ways that you can vote. There's a straight ticket and a split ticket, all right? When you put your name on a ballot, if you vote for every single candidate in the Republican Party or every single candidate in the Democratic Party, you vote a straight ticket. If you vote a split ticket, you vote for a mix of candidates from both parties. We advise you in our civics department, do not vote a straight ticket because you might be putting someone in office that you don't actually know what they're about as a person, okay? So make sure you're informed. There might be somebody who is not the same party as you, but might be able to do a job better than that candidate that you support. Okay? All right. So that has been political parties.